Welcome to this chilling tale of the supernatural. Tonight, I bring you a story of eerie discovery and relentless terror that has haunted me for years. As I share this unsettling experience with you, prepare yourself for a journey into the heart of darkness, where the boundaries between reality and the supernatural blur. Buckle up and brace yourself as we delve into the spine-tingling saga of a haunted house with a sinister secret. Story. My wife and I had always dreamed of escaping the bustling city life for a quieter existence in the countryside. So, when we stumbled upon an old house in the rural outskirts, it seemed like a dream come true. The price was unbelievably low, and despite its age and wear, there was something inviting about the place. The rolling hills and serene landscape offered an idyllic retreat, a stark contrast to our chaotic urban life. We decided to make the purchase and move in as soon as possible. The house, with its creaky wooden floors and dusty corners, seemed to whisper tales of the past. At first, everything was as expected. The air was fresh, the views were stunning, and we felt an odd sense of peace settling into our new home. However, as days turned into weeks, we started to notice peculiar occurrences. At night, when the house was silent, a low, rhythmic sound seemed to emanate from the walls. It was as if the house was breathing, each inhale and exhale creating a haunting melody that filled the darkness. We tried to dismiss it as the house settling, but the sensation was too eerie to ignore. One evening, while exploring the attic, we found an old diary tucked away in a dusty corner. The diary belonged to a previous owner and detailed their experiences living in the house. The entry spoke of strange phenomena, objects moving on their own, inexplicable noises, and a constant feeling of being watched. But the most disturbing part was the mention of a living house, one that could breathe and consume the souls of those who dwelt within. Unease settled in as we began to experience the very things described in the diary. The rhythmic breathing grew louder, and strange shadows seemed to dance in the corners of our vision. Our nights were filled with restless sleep and eerie dreams. The house seemed to have a life of its own, manipulating our fears and feeding on our anxieties. One night, as I lay awake listening to the house's unsettling breaths, I felt a cold presence beside me. I turned to see a shadowy figure, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. It seemed to absorb the warmth from the room, leaving behind a bone-chilling cold. My wife woke up screaming, and we both knew we could no longer ignore the house's sinister nature. Desperate to find answers, we researched the house's history. It became clear that this home had a dark past, with previous occupants vanishing under mysterious circumstances. The house was notorious in local folklore, said to be a vessel for malevolent spirits. It was as if the house was a predator, seeking out souls to consume and trap within its walls. The situation escalated quickly. The house's breathing became erratic and violent, as if it was enraged by our attempts to uncover its secrets. We felt trapped, unable to escape the clutches of the malevolent entity that seemed to inhabit every corner of our own. One night, as we prepared to leave for good, the house unleashed its full fury. The walls seemed to close in on us, the floorboards creaking and groaning under the pressure of the house's wrath. Shadows swirled around us, whispering voices filled the air, and a deep, guttural growl reverberated through the rooms. We barely escaped with our lives, leaving behind our belongings and everything we had hoped for. The house still stands, a silent witness to the horrors it has inflicted upon those who dared to call it home. Our lives were forever changed by our experience, and the memories of that night continue to haunt us. The house remains a dark legend in the area, its story passed down through local folklore. To this day, I shudder at the thought of its breathing walls and the souls it has claimed. It was a house that lived, breathed, and fed on the fears and lies of those unfortunate enough to reside within its cursed confines. After our harrowing escape, the weight of our experience continued to loom over us. We tried to move on, but the house's dark grip seemed to follow us, casting a shadow over every aspect of our lives. The nightmares and restless nights persisted, each one a chilling reminder of what we had left behind. Months passed, and while we attempted to rebuild our lives in a new home, we couldn't shake the feeling that something was still watching us. We kept our distance from the old house, hoping that it would fade from our memory. However, the supernatural horrors we had experienced there seemed to have seeped into our very souls. One evening, as we sat together discussing our ordeal, a letter arrived. It was addressed to us from a local historian who had been investigating the house's history. The letter revealed shocking new information about the home's origins and the malevolent force that resided within. According to the historian, the house had been built in the early 1800s by a wealthy but reclusive man named Jonathan Blackwood. Blackwood was known for his interest in occult practices and had a reputation for dabbling in forbidden rituals. The historian uncovered evidence that Blackwood had attempted to summon a powerful entity to grant him immortality and wealth. Instead, he inadvertently bound the entity to the house, turning it into a vessel for the malevolent spirit he had unleashed. The historian's research detailed how Blackwood's obsession with the supernatural led to the house becoming a living entity, absorbing the souls of those who resided within. The house's breathing was a manifestation of the spirit's hunger, and it had the power to trap and consume the life force of its inhabitants. The letter concluded with a warning. The entity's influence was not confined to the house alone. It had the ability to reach out to those who had been touched by its darkness, seeking to ensnare them even after they had left. The historian implored us to take precautions and advised us to seek out a spiritual guide to help protect ourselves from the entity's lingering malevolence. Disturbed by the letter, we decided to take the historian's advice and sought the help of a renowned spiritualist. We arranged for a cleansing ritual and a series of protective measures to safeguard ourselves from the entity's influence. The spiritualist conducted a thorough cleansing of our new home and performed rituals to ward off any lingering effects of the house's dark power. Despite our efforts, the entity's presence seemed to linger, manifesting in subtle ways. Unexplained noises, fleeting shadows, and an oppressive feeling of being watched continued to plague us. The house had left an indelible mark on our lives, and we struggled to regain a sense of normalcy. In the years that followed, we tried to move forward, focusing on our careers and personal lives. We made new memories and forged new paths, but the shadow of the old house remained a constant reminder of our past. Occasionally, we would hear stories from locals about strange occurrences in the house, but we avoided any further involvement, determined to leave the past behind. The house eventually fell into disrepair, and local legends grew around its cursed reputation. It became a ghost story for the townfolk, a place where no one dared to venture. The once beautiful home, now a decaying relic of a bygone era, stood as a testament to the horrors that had transpired within its walls. Despite the passage of time, I have never been able to fully escape the impact of that house. The experience left a deep scar on my psyche, and I am haunted by the memories of the malevolent entity that once resided within. I often wonder if the house still breathes, still hungers for the souls of those who come too close. The story of the house remains a dark chapter in my life, a chilling reminder of the dangers that lie hidden beneath the surface. It serves as a cautionary tale about the perils of seeking solace in places with dark histories and the enduring power of malevolent forces that defy explanation. As I share this final chapter of my experience, I hope that it serves as a warning to others. Beware of the allure of seemingly perfect escapes and the hidden dangers that may lurk behind them. Sometimes, the most innocent seeming places can harbor the darkest secrets, waiting to consume those who dare to call them home.